Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about 18 things I don't buy anymore because I have a minimalist mindset and I try to live a minimalist lifestyle. So we'll jump right into it. I'm not really going to have a big intro of what minimalism is. I might make a separate video explaining that. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump forward and kind of explain 18 things I no longer purchase. Number one is fast fashion. I have a very minimalist closet and most people who know me probably think I'm boring, but I really don't care. I tend to wear very plain clothing. I don't wear a lot of logos. I don't really try to keep up with what's trendy right now. 6 months from now, a year from now, it's not going to be trending anymore and people are going to be looking at you like, why are you wearing that? I mean, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with it. My money can't keep up with it. But anyway, you get the point. Fast fashion is not forever. Repeat that. Fast fashion is not forever. I tend to buy things that I like, that I can keep for a long time. It's just going to be kind of timeless. So I really just tend to buy things for that reason. Number two, I don't buy DVDs or CDs, and that might seem kind of strange, but I just use the DVD once or twice, and I found myself just putting it in a drawer somewhere or stacking it somewhere and not using it again. I just don't find value in keeping things and using it once or twice and just collecting dust. To me, it just feels like clutter, and clutter is so annoying. But I just don't like things collecting dust and not getting use out of it. So if CDs and DVDs bring happiness to you, that is totally okay, but to me it really doesn't. I'd rather stream things online and just be able to use it whenever I want. Number three is disposable water bottles. I found myself when I was working to really buy water bottles almost every single day from work, and it was about $2 a day, and I would look at my bank statement whoa, I spent how much this month on water bottles I just threw away. I worked outside, it was very hot, so sometimes I would need it, but I actually go ahead and I went and I purchased a reusable water bottle. It changed the game. It kept my water so much colder, first of all. I was not wasting so much plastic. I can't stand seeing how our planet is just becoming this plastic wasteland. And is it really worth having water that you're going to drink for a few hours and then throw the water bottle away and it's going to end up in a landfill somewhere if it's not recycled? Or I mean, even worse, it could end up in the streets or in the waters. No. Number four is upgrades in technology. I actually had a hard time even buying a new laptop for my school that I transferred to. I want to buy the newest thing every year that only has a slight improvement in maybe the hardware or the specs of the technology. Is it really worth it? Not so much. So I tend to buy things that are good quality, that'll last about 5 to 6 years at least, and I do keep them for that long. I mean, up until, hear me out, up until last year I had the Apple iPhone 6s, guys, not the 8, the 6s. I was way behind, but I don't really use my phone that much. I tend to keep things simple, and I just didn't need a new phone up until last year. So number five, I don't like buying excessive amounts of shoes. For some reason, to me, I'm able to buy maybe 1 or 2 or 3 pairs of nice shoes for different occasions. It's perfectly okay to me. I don't like buying things to sit in my closet and collect dust because I liked it in the moment, but I don't like it a couple months from now. I mean, to me, buy a good quality pair of shoes, or 1 or 2 or 3 pairs of shoes that can get you by in most occasions or situations, and you're gonna be okay. You don't need, in my opinion, 30 pairs of shoes, 20 pairs of shoes. For what? I mean, is there going to be somewhere, someone out there who's keeping track, oh, they have a lot of shoes? No one really cares about excessive amounts of anything. It's just going to be you. So if it brings you happiness, by all means, go ahead and keep doing that. But if you're doing it to impress others, I promise you, you're not going to impress anyone but your closet. Number six is kind of difficult for me, but it has to do with books. I don't like buying brand new books. For some reason, for me, if I do buy a book, it's gonna be a used book. I like, for some reason, the smell of old books. I don't know why. Now that I say it out loud, it's kind of strange, but I like having books that someone else has read. For some reason, to me, I love finding bookmarks. I found some really cool bookmarks over time. One was like an old tea bag, like the wrapper of a tea bag, which is kind of strange, but I mean, hopefully their tea was good. I don't know why they use this bookmark. There's just a lot of cool things you could find in used books, whether it's even signatures or like love letters to people. I just really like used books. I don't really buy a lot of books, but I tend not to buy brand new books, so that is one thing I don't do. Number 7 is sponges. Hear me out before you call me gross. Sponges are disgusting. I hate the fact that they just collect bacteria and they don't get washed usually. Like, honestly, I buy these dish brushes. Like, I bought one a few months ago and I have used it this whole time. I constantly wash it with either soap or baking soda and vinegar. I think it's just a lot cleaner, less waste. I was going through them way too much, creating waste. This is a lot more minimal and it's for me. 8 is body wash. I can't stand certain chemicals. Like my skin doesn't like certain chemicals. Body wash containers are full of plastic. Like, again with the plastic thing, I constantly was throwing away plastic and I felt like body wash goes by so much faster than bars of soap. Like, I don't know why. To me, it just would go through so much faster. I mean, I probably didn't need to use as much. It was probably my fault. Yeah, no, body wash is just... it just wasn't worth it to me, and I'd rather buy bars of soap. I'd rather buy bars of soap that are gonna last longer, that are maybe more natural, better for my skin, better for my body, and it's going to be better for the planet as well. I do a lot of things based on that. Anything to cut back on, you know, my footprint on this planet. If I could do anything to cut back on my waste, I will do it. Number 9 is apps. I found that I've purchased apps like on my phone in the past. I've used it 1 or 2 times and it was just a waste of money. So if I find apps that are just like really cool, I will look for alternatives that are free, or I'll really say, do I need that app? Is it something that's going to help me productively? If not, I don't buy it. I did buy Notability and GoodNotes a few months ago for school to take notes on my iPad, but honestly, besides that, I don't think I have one app that has actually been purchased. I just don't find use out of them. All right, 10 is cable TV. I don't know, for some reason, I get so bored watching cable TV. Half of it is commercials, half of it is advertisements. Like, I got into some channels I might like, which is fine, like maybe some home improvement stuff. I mean, call me an old soul here or something, but that's me. I found that I would only like maybe one thing on cable TV, and is it worth spending that much money per month on one thing when you can usually find those videos, or you could find that content on streaming services for like literally like a small fraction of the cost, like this much. Like, cable TV is outrageously expensive anyways, so is it worth it? To me, no. I just watch like Netflix or YouTube if I'm going to watch anything, but I like to be more stimulated and I just don't think it's worth it. Number 11 is kind of goes with the body wash thing, is air fresheners. I don't like putting a lot of chemicals into my environment, in my living environment. Also, I don't really need air fresheners, and that sounds kind of strange, but I think when people use excessive like air fresheners, it's probably because they don't clean. Whatever is the reason that people use a lot of air fresheners, I don't. I might light a candle every once in a while, but I just don't really like air fresheners. I don't like the chemicals. I don't like the smells. They can be very overpowering. It lingers and it lingers. And wouldn't you, like, for me, I just like to smell fresh air. Fresheners aren't always good for the environment, so I tend to stay away from them like altogether. And number 12 is kind of weird, but excessive laundry items. Like, I just don't use like those beads you put in like the laundry. I tend to use like a really natural laundry soap that gets my clothes plenty clean. I don't need to add a bunch of stuff to it to try to get rid of any stains. I mean, I don't do anything that really requires it. So I tend to just keep it simple when I do laundry. If you're gonna buy things for yourself, I mean, like, why do it if you already have the memory, you already have the experience, unless it's something that really makes you happy. I don't know, just for me, I don't really like souvenirs. Number 14, I swear to you, I live by this. I had a drastic change in my life about a year ago where I gave up sugar completely. And when I say sugar, I mean no soda, no chocolate, no candy, no cakes, no donuts. And I know it might seem crazy to some people, but I was becoming too dependent on soda and caffeine to get by my everyday life and to make myself feel better. And trust me, I feel so much better without it. It is one thing I don't buy. I don't buy junk food. I tend to keep, preservatives and really harsh foods and unhealthy foods out of my body because I like to take care of what I have in the present to last in the future, and that includes everything in my life, but also including my body. So sugar out of it. Sugar is one thing that was just always making me feel horrible. I could definitely live without sugar now. It took a while to get used to, in about a year and a half, and I just feel so much better. And my energy is so much better, my mood is so much better. It is worth it. All right, number 15, we're almost there, guys, I promise you, is seasonal decor. Like, I don't necessarily, lost my train of thought. Necessarily have anything against decorating for different seasons or holidays, but for me, I just found that in between the holidays, I would get tired of those items, and I would usually get rid of them. So I just don't even really buy them anymore. I buy one or two things, but typically, no, I have to be in the mood for it, and I don't want to carry items with me constantly throughout the seasons that I'm going to use maybe for 1 or 2 weeks out of the year. Just for me, it would be for myself. I've done it in the past, and I kind of learned from it. 16. This is very extreme as well, but is meal delivery. I don't necessarily like to do takeout and have it delivered. I used to do it a lot, and I found that I'd rather just order it and pick it up if I was to order something. Do like 1.5 times the price of the same items. The delivery fees are crazy, and sometimes they don't even show up. Let's be real, it saves a lot of money. 17 is new cars. Okay, so this has a story behind it. I bought a new car a few years ago. It was a 2015, and unfortunately, a crazy driver wrecked my car last year. It was some big ordeal with the insurance company. It was this close to being totaled, but guess what, guys? They did not total my car. They ended up fixing my car. After they fixed my car, it kept stalling. It was just stalling and stalling and stalling every time I came to like a stoplight, and I was like, okay, like obviously it wasn't fixed right. What is going on? Insurance did not want to pay for anything. I had to end up getting a lawyer and suing them. It was a big mess, but I learned that drive out of that lot after you purchase a car. Your car depreciates so much. Like, you lose so much value in that car. It is just like absolutely mind-blowing that stuck with a vehicle that is now worth so much less. On top of that, you're paying interest, and you could be paying that for the next 5 to maybe even 7 years. I mean, just to me, it wasn't worth it. I actually ended up having to sell the car. I sold the car, luckily, back to the dealership that sold it to me. I told them what was wrong with it. They bought it for the fraction of what I owed left on my loan, and I paid for the difference cash, and I got rid of it. I bought a used car, and now I own a car because, guys, don't forget, when you make payments on a car, you do not own that car. You are just making payments to the bank that owns your car. And when you pay it off, they're going to give you your pink slip, and they're going to say, okay, now you own the car. But until then, you do not own your car. So do I want to get in the trap of having a brand new car and not just paying cash outright for a car in the future? No, I don't want to get in that trap. I don't want to constantly buy a new car and keep up with what everyone else is doing, because all those other people do not own their vehicles. I would rather own something, not pay interest to someone, not be in debt to someone, and actually just own something and have an asset to my name, even if it's just a used car, but is 10 times more reliable than that new car I had, which is kind of ironic. Last one, guys, is I don't purchase an unlimited data plan for my cell phone. I was paying way too much. Like, I was paying almost double the price of my cell phone service before, and honestly, I found that I was mostly using Wi-Fi at home. I wasn't even using 1 gigabyte, and so I was spending for an unlimited data plan that I did not need. And I thought, okay, well, what if there was an emergency? What if something happens? What if I need extra data, but I still have all this data, but I don't use it? I can always purchase a gigabyte if I need it. Honestly, I haven't had to do it. I really haven't had to do it. So unlimited data is not always worth it if you don't use that much data. You could find out how much data you use every month and cut back on that, because it will save you a lot of money, and honestly, it's just not worth it. Alright, guys, if you watched up until this point, I really appreciate it. I really do. I'm still new to this YouTube thing. I'm trying to see what works for me and try to get everything set up. It's kind of a learning process, but I would really like if you guys subscribe to the channel. If you like the channel, you can actually even go ahead and comment below. Let me know if you've ever considered minimalism and if it's something that interests you, and if you just want to live a simpler life and just not have a lot of clutter. I'm gonna probably make, like I said before, another video to kind of explain like the ideas of minimalism and what it can exactly do to kind of change your life, and it can, you know, the value it could bring to your life. This isn't just me not wanting to spend money and be frugal, and you know, not that there's anything wrong with that. I do it for those reasons too, but it's not mostly because of that. I do these things because I like to keep less clutter. I like to create a healthier life for myself, and overall, I like to live simply so I could focus on other things, focus on myself and my future, and I could focus on becoming successful, and I could focus on other things that are important to me. And everyone's going to have a different version of what's important to them, but maybe just not having to worry about keeping up with others, having to worry about materialism as much,